Hello everyone, today we're going to be talking about the June 12th dev letter that they released on the Korean server. So they've talked about some pretty interesting things here. It says here, hello BNS family, this is Team Bloodlust. So as we know, they brought in the Archer class. So now we've got the Archer on the Korean server. We've got a new story quest as well as a new 6-man dungeon called Hangar Zero. So if you guys were watching Kiso stream earlier, he did stream a lot of it. It looks pretty fun. They immediately jumped into hard mode, which is pretty cool. So the first mini boss is kind of like a Bomberman mechanic. And as for the other bosses, I didn't really pay much attention. However, the mechanics required to clear the dungeon are very different and it's very unique. So I'm definitely looking forward to that new dungeon, Hangar Zero. As for the loot that drops from Hangar Zero, there is a new glove for PvP, as well as a new ring for PvE. So it's two different items that drop there. It's pretty interesting. There's now going to be, other than normal mode and hard mode, they are introducing beginner mode. So if you guys remember that Tea with Karo that I did about 5 to 6 months ago, we did talk about introducing a beginner mode. And so it's pretty nice to see that they actually are implementing a beginner mode into this. So beginner mode is basically going to be, you can go into the same dungeon. So let's say, for example, Brood Chamber. So you can go into Brood Chamber. However, instead of instantly dying when you fail a mechanic, so for example, let's say you fail pushing or you fail orb blocking in Brood Chamber, instead of instantly dying, you just take a lot of damage instead. As they said here, unresistible damage. So it's basically damage that you cannot iframe through and you just automatically take it. It's going to be similar to Scion's Keep. So when you fail conduction and SK, you instantly take 90% of your maximum HP as damage. It's going to be something like that. However, you're not going to be able to iframe it. So this will definitely help and will definitely allow a lot more new players try out the dungeons and slowly at their own pace learn how to do the mechanics. Or it might just totally backfire and everyone in F8 is just going to do beginner mode and no one's ever going to learn the mechanics. We don't know how it's going to turn out, but I'm definitely looking forward to a beginner mode being introduced. The only question mark I have here is, are they going to be changing the gold rewards or the loot? If the gold reward is the same, then I can see myself running on beginner mode on F8. I'll just run into F8, say anyone can join, and just kind of just like blast through it, which is convenient. However, I don't know if that's actually balanced or not in this grand scheme of things, unless they change something in beginner mode. Maybe like the loot is less or something, similar to the difference between normal mode and hard mode. So people mainly do hard mode because they want the psyches, right? And normal mode doesn't drop psyche, so that's the main difference. So they're going to have to do something between beginner mode and normal mode to balance it out so that not everyone is just going to spam beginner mode and never do normal mode and just never learn the mechanics in general. So we'll see how they balance this. Finally, they talk more about the Archer. So again, that the Archer has two different play styles. You've got the Dawn and you've got the Gale. And then it's basically one is shooting from a distance and the other one is detecting enemies' weak points and moving around to maximize damage. Then another thing that they talked about here is rather interesting. It's normal, PvP, and standardized damage. So what they want to do is they want to change the balancing of the damage depending if you're in a dungeon or if you're in a battlegrounds or if you're in 1v1. So as you know, when we go into 1v1s right now, everyone's gear is equalized. So everyone has, no matter if you have Aransu gear or if you have Raven gear or even just a training weapon, your damage output's going to be standardized. That way 1v1 is fair. However, in Battlegrounds, this is not the case. In Battlegrounds, your gear does matter. So if you have a lot of gear, you can one-shot people with no gear. And if you have no gear, it's almost impossible to kill someone who's fully geared. And so they're trying to standardize this, trying to balance it so it's more enjoyable for all parties. They didn't really go into details about this, so we don't know how they're going to be balancing things. But, that's something that they're looking into, which is nice. The next thing here is really interesting is ancient legendary items. So ancient legendary items are basically refinements. So let's say you have a Grand Celestial 9 weapon. So, the stats are pretty much the same, and the only way to make that weapon stronger was to have better gems in it to boost your AP. However, now you can refine it from +1 to +20, and the higher the refinement, the more stats it'll give. However, what you can see here is that there is a certain chance that the stats may fall. So in order to get from +1 to +2, there's a chance that you might fail the +2 enhancement and maybe you'll go back to +0 or maybe you'll go back to +1. Small update. Thank you BNS Kawaii over here for sending me this link. So you can see over here, here's the percentage chance of a successful upgrade and as well as the penalty. So over here on the left side, you can see whatever stage you are. So when you're on +1, +2, +3, so forth and so on, and the chance of success in order to get to the next stage. So from 0 to +1, it's 100%. From 1 to +2, it's 100%. Then from stage 2 to stage 3, it's 80%. However, if you fail the upgrade, you go down to stage 1. However, where it gets brutal is down here. Look at this. From stage 19 to stage 20, it's a 5% success rate. And if you fail, you drop back down to stage 13. So stage 13 is all the way here, where it's a 20% chance to get to stage 14. And then if you fail that, you fall down to stage 10. And from stage 10, there's a 30% chance to get to stage 11. And then if you fail that as well, you fall down to stage 8. So in order to get to stage 20, it's really crazy RNG. And it's pretty expensive for each of these upgrades. I don't think the NA/EU scene is ever going to get this, mainly because if we had this system, people would flip their tables and go crazy. So I don't think we're going to get this system, but this is currently the system in Korea. And yeah, that's a small update. Thanks again to BNS Kawaii for providing me this link, as I did not have this information earlier. So yeah, thank you again. They've also added the Throne of the Beginning. The Throne of the Beginning is going to be more of a event. So apparently this event is going to make raids quote-unquote enjoyable instead of a challenge. So I don't know how this is going to turn out. But yeah, that pretty much covers everything on the June 12th developer letter from Team Bloodlust. And this again is all on the Korean server. Again, thank you Scoot over here for translating or providing the patch notes. And as always, I have left the link in the description below if you want to read this for yourself. But yeah, that's all I wanted to cover today. If you found this video helpful, I would appreciate a subscribe, as it really does help out my channel. And as always, thanks for watching. See you guys next time. Bye.
What can I say except you're welcome? For the heels, the